Hey everybody, welcome back for another Ashe Design tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to use some of our texture overlays with your images. This tutorial is going to be a little bit different than some of the ones that I've done in the past because it's not really a step-by-step process. This is really very creative, but there are a few tips and tricks that I can show you so that you can apply your own style to your images with these textures. You can see I already have opened 5 texture overlays, and these are all from the Something Old texture overlay kit on Ashe Design. And then I have an image from Stephanie Dennis Photography. And I thought for the most part what I would do is just let you guys watch me work. I'll play with a few of these textures and we'll apply them to the image. And I'll show you a few hints along the way. If you have questions, don't hesitate to post them on our Facebook page and we'll do what we can to answer them. I'm going to start with kind of a dramatic change to this image. There's some real subtle things we can do too, but I'm going to start with this number 4 texture. So I really like how rich it is. And I'm going to put it right over my image. I've already resized my texture overlays so they fit perfectly over my image, so you can see how my corners line up good and everything's set there. So you'll want to make sure that you have that. And then I'm going to come over here to my layers palette. For my layers palette, I'm going to use this drop down menu and I'm going to choose from the options in here. Now you can experiment with anything in here, but for the most part I use overlay, soft light, and hard light, and I'm going to recommend that you start there and use those. Now one of the things that I really liked about this overlay is how dramatic it is, and it's really dramatic with this nice hard light. So I'm going to use that first. Now one of the other things that you can do with the textures is I could leave it this color, which I actually really like, but I've played with it a little and there's a really nice purple that I like with her brown eyes too. So I'm going to come up here to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I'm going to find just a nice deep kind of grape color. And I'm just going to play with my sliders here a little bit till I find a color that I really like. And then I'm going to hit OK. And I really like the edges of this image, but I obviously don't want all of that texture on her skin and face. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply a layer mask. So I'm going to come over here to my layers palette and I'm going to click Add Layer Mask. And then I'm going to come get my paintbrush and make sure I have black paint and that my opacity is at 100%. And then I'm just going to start brushing this away from the areas that I don't want. And at first I'm going to stay kind of on the inside areas, and then we'll come back and get the edges. Now when I get the edges, I'm just going to kind of do a rough job to show you, but for a print file you are definitely going to want to make it like a 200% file, and you're going to want to get in there real close and get some nice clean edges because you don't want anything goofy when you print those. Okay, now I still need to get some of this off our arms, and that would be one spot where if you increased the size of the image, it would be much easier to get some of this. I'm going to cheat a little bit and just take this down, kind of softly go around her edges here so that I get some of it off, but I don't get any real harsh lines. And really right there I can be done with this one. Again, you'd want to clean it up a little bit better for a print file, but you know, this is what we started with and this is our new image, and it's a pretty dramatic change. It really darkens it up, but it really brings a lot of focus into her and her face and her eyes, and it really brings out those whites, and so that's one of the ones that I really like. But there are a lot more subtle options as well, so I'm just going to click that layer off. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to drag this number 2 texture right over the top of my image again. And then I'm going to follow the same steps, only this time I'm going to try an overlay. I'm going to add a clipping mask just like I did before. Grab my paintbrush and the same thing. I want to increase my opacity of my brush back up to 100%. I just want to get all of this off of her skin. Now in this case, last time I brushed it off of her dress too. But in this case, it's so much more subtle that I can almost just leave it on her dress. Let me get into this flower just a little bit. So it's really up to you. You could brush this off, you could leave it, or a lot of times what I like to do is find something around the middle here and brush a little bit of it off and leave some of it as well. So again, that's one where we could just be done right there. This was our original image, and this is what we have now. You can layer these up. If I put both of those on there, it kind of has a neat effect. It's a little bit dark for me, so I'd maybe lighten it up, which I can come down to this dark one and just lighten up the opacity here, somewhere in there, and that's really pretty cool with both of our textures right on there. So you can really play with layering the textures, changing the colors of the textures, all kinds of different things. Like I said, it's really very artistic as to what your style is and what you want to apply. I'm going to try and do one more for you guys, and it's going to be another pretty simple one. I like this number 1 is another one of my favorites. This is another one that I really think you can change colors on. So first I'm going to make it a soft light, which makes it really super subtle, and then I'm going to look at changing the image. So again, adjustments, hue and saturation. I'm going to look for some maybe greens this time, and I'm going to try and darken it up a little because it was so subtle. I want just a little bit more. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add my layer mask to it, get my paintbrush, increase the opacity, and then just brush it right off where I don't want it. This is another one where you can leave it on her dress, paint it off her dress, or kind of half and half. I'm just going to go ahead and paint it off a little bit here. And so another way that you can use the texture to just give it a real subtle lift. So this was our original, and this is with that one texture on. I don't have any idea what it'll look like with all of them, but there you go. I'm thinking this one probably, no, that one does add, I like how it adds the corners to it. So you can even have all 3 of those textures on, you can have any one of them on, you can have different combinations of the 2 on, all to create really unique pieces of artwork for your customers. So I really encourage you to get some textures, play with them a little, and find your own style, and please share with us on facebook.com/Ashe Design LLC. We love seeing your images. Thanks so much. Until next time.